Secure men don't usually stay with avoidant attachment women. Welcome back to the Secure Husband Podcast. Bruce Abbott, certified professional coach and founder of SecureHusband.com. The goal of my podcast is to help good men stop trying to earn love and start leading themselves and their marriages with peace and strength and clarity. One of the most popular questions I get in some form or fashion, what do I do if my wife is distant or emotionally disconnected? If she shuts down when I try to connect, if she seems to disappear emotionally, the second that I get vulnerable. It's usually some version of that. The question you're really asking is, what do I do if my wife is avoidantly attached? And I do want to be clear. Some avoidantly attached women are doing their own healing work. There is real transformation possible, just as us guys work on becoming more secure and less anxious attachment. But for many men in these marriages, often the women are not working on that. So they find themselves, the guys find themselves stuck in this loop of chasing closeness. And they get the breadcrumbs in terms of, affection, table scraps. They feel like maybe they are the problem and they just keep trying harder and harder and harder. And they get the same result. They get shut down again and again. And husbands that are insecure or anxiously attached, they're going to just keep trying and trying harder. But what happens is a truly secure man reaches a point where he says, I'm just not going to do this anymore. I don't do this anymore. I won't do this anymore. And I'm not saying that as you become secure, you end your marriage. But what I am saying is when you see avoidant attachment in a marriage, and it becomes very hard for insecure men to either leave or set boundaries, they will chase the emotionally unavailable wife. And if you've ever heard the term avoidant attachment, that's pretty much what it is. It's often marked by an emotional shutdown. She withdraws during conflict, very conflict avoidant. A lot of discomfort with closeness and affection. Won't be vulnerable, very avoidant vulnerability, and a deep need for independence, especially inside the marriage. You might find she has her own bank account, his and her money. And don't get me wrong, independence is important in a marriage. You want to still maintain a unit, but your own individuality. This is more independence as a defense mechanism, as a protection, a self-protection. And communication is hard. Sometimes she gives you these short surface level responses, avoiding eye contact during emotional conversations. She often feels overwhelmed when you get vulnerable with her. She's not comfortable with that and really needs her space, not necessarily to recharge, even though she might say that. It's more to avoid. It's to deal with her own anxiety that's being triggered when you're too close. And for us anxious attachment guys, this is like torture because your nervous system is screaming. Your body is saying, come closer, while she's saying, back off. You get that push-pull dynamic. If you've ever heard the term pursuer-distancer, that's what this is all about. It creates a tension, but it's a negative tension. It's not a positive tension. Maybe it's an illusion of passion, but it's really not passionate. It's separateness. And really, it's just pain. It hurts. So the first step of the Secure Husband process is always just noticing. Just notice where you're chasing this avoidance. And ask yourself, honestly, am I drawn to her distance? Do I feel addicted to earning her openness? Do I have this fantasy in my mind about finally breaking through the wall, breaking her open emotionally? If so, that's not love, that's familiar dysfunction. Because you're not really drawn to her, you're drawn to the pattern, this pattern of withholding and longing and the validation loop and this fantasy of being enough to fix her. We're men, we try to fix. Most of these podcast episodes have the same line in them. I always say it, you cannot fix your wife. But when she does occasionally open up, it feels like a hit of dopamine. It's like the dog that finally gets the table scraps. But it's unpredictable. It's like going to the slot machine in a casino. You don't need intimacy that feels like that. You need consistency. And that only comes when you stop chasing emotional unavailability. And that's where you make a choice. And you choose to stop confusing this repression with strength. Many avoidant women appear calm and they appear in control. They feel, strong and unaffected. And if you're anxious, emotionally reactive, or insecure, that looks a lot like power. And you think, my wife, she's strong, she's powerful. But deep inside, you're hurting. Why? Because it's not power. It's shutting down. It's emotional numbness. And that's not strength. It's silence during conflict. That's not maturity. You're not working through anything if she shuts down. And certainly dismissing closeness and affection, that's not confidence. But it's hard for insecure men to handle that. But the moment that you stop putting her on a pedestal and you stop idolizing her coldness as control, you start realizing that's not what you want. Because often we don't know what we want. We have an idea in our mind what it should be like, but when we radically accept reality, that's not what we're getting. And it starts becoming clear to you that, no, this is not what I want. I want responsiveness. I want connection. I want softness. I want affection. I want emotional availability. And I'm telling you, you're not asking for too much. That's the minimum for a thriving relationship. And anxious attachment guys are attracted to that avoidant attachment woman and vice versa because they confirm each other's biases. And you're familiar with this pattern. It's not new to you because somewhere along the way you learned that love had to be earned. You know, as a little boy, you learned that affection, you had to chase after that the people who loved you always had a distance. They always pulled away or they always kept a wall. That little boy was chasing the unavailable. And now you keep choosing women who mirror that pattern. Women who withdraw when you open up and withhold affection and get uncomfortable when you express love. And oftentimes you feel like you're being gaslit. You're chasing what's familiar. You're not chasing what's fulfilling. But here's the thing, you're not that little boy anymore. And that little boy doesn't need to chase anymore. But you have to help him. You have to look inside of you and talk to that inner boy inside of you and give him love and compassion that he doesn't have to chase after. It's free flowing from you to him. He doesn't have to earn it. And you just tell him, hey, little guy, I love you. I see you. You don't have to chase after my love. You're not invisible. You're not too much. You're not a problem. You are lovable, even when someone pulls away. And you don't have to keep proving your worth. And this, as we always say, you've got to go to something bigger. You've got to go to a divine source of unconditional love, something way bigger than you or me or that little boy. You've got to go to God, your higher self, the universe, spirit. That source of unconditional love and inherent worthiness is for you. You've got to tap into that. And when you connect that source of love, that unconditional source of love from God or the universe, and you reach out to that, it's there for you 24/7. You don't have to earn it. It's unconditional. And you connect that little boy inside with that unconditional love that he never had. And healing begins to happen and the pattern begins to break. And as that pattern breaks, that's where secure men don't stay in the dynamic anymore. And again, I'm not saying that if you are in a relationship with an avoidant attachment wife and you're on this journey towards becoming secure, I'm not saying that your marriage is going to end, that you need to leave your wife. I'm just saying that once a man becomes emotionally secure, he realizes that he's not available for inconsistent connection anymore. And he realizes that he doesn't need to chase or prove or analyze every cold look or flat response or distant mood. And it's not his job to emotionally awaken somebody who may not want to. A secure husband doesn't demand perfection, but he does require respect, emotional presence, some relational effort, a willingness to engage. And I will say that as men do become more secure, in a lot of marriages with guys that I work with, she will meet him halfway because some of those things that trigger her and her wounds, you're stopping some of those behaviors as you become more secure. And that gives her the ability to feel more emotionally safe and relax in the marriage. And so she can start to come towards you. So in many cases, I would say the majority of the men that I work with, she's willing to meet him halfway. There are some where she's unwilling to meet halfway. And it's not because she's afraid, but she just may be unwilling. And when that happens, the secure man puts his foot down and he stops participating in this game. And he's not doing it out of anger, but he does it out of peace. Secure men don't stay where they're just tolerated. They stay where they're emotionally met. And as you work through this process and become more of the secure husband, you start to lead. And you lead with love. You lead with boundaries, not desperation. Because when you become more secure, you stop trying to fix her. You stop begging You stop saying, please talk to me, please have sex with me, please give me affection. Why don't you want me? What did I do wrong? Do you not think I'm attractive anymore? All of those things stop when you become more secure. And the message that you send out when you become more secure is, babe, I love you. I want to connect, but I'm not going to keep chasing silence and shut down. Honey, if you're willing to work through this with me, I'm all in. But if you're not, I'm not going to beg for table scraps and breadcrumbs anymore. And you don't do this like yelling or threatening. It's calm. It's confident. You're leading. See, that energy is what separates secure men from the wounded self where we're at many times right now. And I feel you. I have been exactly where you are at right now. And it's a journey. It's not an easy journey. It takes a lot of inner work, but it is so worth it to become the man that you want to become. And that helps you build a stronger marriage, and it helps you build a stronger self, and maybe the outcome doesn't work out. And maybe you and your wife do go your own direction, but you now come from a place of security and clarity. And you can build a life where connection is mutual because you were not created to beg for intimacy. You don't have to prove your worth. We're designed for connection. We're divinely created to be in relationship, but not with just yourself and a one-sided marriage. So I know it's hard because on one hand, it sounds like, okay, you can save your marriage doing this. And then on the other hand, it sounds like I'm saying, no, this is how you end your marriage. Because I'm just saying that it's outcome independent. You cannot control her and what decisions she makes. You can only control yourself and your desire to lead with presence and love with strength and hold your own emotional center. And as you become secure, you invite, you don't force your partner to show up with you. And if she can't or she won't, you don't punish. You simply choose peace with or without her participation. Becoming the secure man has nothing to do with your wife. It's all about you. And again, it's the man you want to become. And that man doesn't accept relationships that require him to abandon himself to feel loved. And I want to let you know that I'm telling you this out of love. There's no blame. There's no shame. And just understand too, I don't think that a lot of avoidant women are doing this because they're cruel. And I don't think that secure men who get out of a relationship aren't cruel either. They're just becoming more clear on what they bring to the relationship as a secure husband. They know what they need. They know what they're not available for anymore. And they know that they're done chasing emotional distance, that they're done. And it's not out of punishment, it's out of peace. I hope this podcast helped you out. If so, hey, give me a review. Hit that subscribe button for more Secure Husband episodes. Share this episode with someone who you think may need to hear this. Visit securehusband.com for more resources and to book one-on-one coaching with me. And I'll see you again on the next Secure Husband podcast. Hey, thanks for listening.